Hey guys, David here. Thought I'd check in. It's Saturday evening, February the 1st, and hope you guys are doing well. It's been a rough week or so for me. As many of you know, my mom was in the hospital. She went in about 10 days ago, and she had been in earlier in January and had been released and seemed to be doing a little better, and she started getting worse again. I mentioned before she has COPD, congestive heart failure, diabetes, a few other things, a pacemaker. So we took her in about 10 days ago, and she was doing okay at first. Last week, about a week ago, Saturday, we took the kids, we all went to visit her, and she was able to talk to all of them and listen to them and smile at them and all that and say hi. And we brought her flowers and cards, and it was a good visit. But progressively during the week, she seemed to respond less and less and to be sleeping more frequently. So it's kind of continued, and not a lot changed. There would be moments of lucidness where she could communicate, but she always had a mask on, so she couldn't really talk. But she would shake her head and look at you and squeeze your hands and all that sort of thing. And there were days when things were pretty good, days were kind of worrisome. But a few days ago, I think on Wednesday, I went in, and the nurse at the station said she was doing pretty good, actually. The numbers were better. She told that my mom was having trouble breathing, but a lot of it was in her head because, her numbers were fine, but she needed to start eating. So I went in and told her, Mom, you got to start eating something, and she said she would. She kind of frowned when I told her that, I was joking with her. Next day we couldn't go because my wife was sick. Friday morning I went early, and she was responsive. She looked at me, she squeezed my hand, she nodded her head, she responded to the nurse that came in. So I sent a text out telling everyone she's doing better. I can tell she's just doing much better. Well then, later on that day, I had just arranged to go to a little museum, a little zoo with my daughter Emily and her kids. And as soon as we got out there, I got a text from a call from my brother, and he was really upset. He said the hospital had called and told him that she wasn't doing well at all, and we needed to come in and talk to them. So I left, went in. He basically said that we needed to make a decision, like an advanced directive, do not resuscitate situation. So we talked it over for a couple hours, went back and forth over some things, but we finally decided just to, he told us that time she was probably going to be gone in 24 hours. So we went in and we decided that, they should just stop all the treatments and give her comfort care. So we made that decision. I told the head nurse, and she said, okay, well, it could be soon, so you might want to hang around. So we sat there for probably 3 hours or so, and my wife and I decided to go get something to eat. It was getting late, and we hadn't eaten at all, really. I hadn't eaten. I was trying to do one meal a day thing, and I hadn't eaten anything. So we left to get some food. I was going to get some food from my stepdad, who was there. We were gone, and I got a call from the nurse, because we were about 15 minutes away, and she said, you need to come now, your mom's passing. So we left, drove back. I called my stepdad. He was in the waiting room, but they hadn't told him. So I guess when I called him, he went in there. Well, by the time we got back, she was already gone. So I regret not having stuck around at the hospital. I really thought she would be in a lot longer, or at least somewhat longer. So it's just sad to me to think that my mom passed away and no one was in her room. She was just by herself. Of course, I don't think she was responsive. She had been sleeping, so I think she was probably still asleep. But it's kind of hard to think that no one was with her when she passed away. So my stepdad went in there as soon as he got my call, and she was already gone. I guess he basically almost collapsed when he saw her. He just wasn't expecting it. He knew she was doing bad, but I think he was in denial. I don't think he really thought she was going to die. So she was gone. We went there, did a lot of crying. My siblings were there. We eventually all went back to her room, and we stood around her, and we just looked at her. I held her hand, trying to hold her hand, my hand on her cheek, She was cold, and her skin had already started to turn, kind of a gray color. So that was the end of my mom. January the 31st, 2024, 25, sorry. So last night, kind of unreal, really, the feeling of having a parent die. My mom was 81. She was about 19 when she had me. So, it's weird to think that someone who gave you birth is no longer around. Someone who knew you more than anyone else ever could know you is gone. My mom was the only one, of course, that knew me as a baby and all those things, or that's still alive. She has a friend. We have a friend. Her name's Darlene. She was her mom's lifelong best friend, and she shared a lot of those memories. Her and my mom were roommates for years before mom got married, and she also ended up getting married too. But for a long time, it was just the three of us. Me, her, and my mom, me, and her friend Darlene. And so we share a lot of memories, but it's difficult. I seem to be the one in the family who kind of had to keep things going, because at that point I was pretty strong. I didn't cry, and for the most part, until we got in a room, of course, and we all kind of lost it and started crying. But death is such a strange thing. I don't understand it. I know we're not meant to understand that death wasn't in God's plan for us. It's just something that happened as a result of sin. It's tough, though. It's a tough deal. It's kind of ironic that I just got retired a week ago, yesterday, and I was hoping to be able to spend some time with my mom, but that really wasn't to be. And I guess that's just the way things are sometimes. This life is kind of crazy. Death is always hard. Has been forever for anyone. It's weird though when, I grew up with just one parent. It's weird when that one parent is gone. You don't have any backup. There's no one really to talk to about parent situation. So it's strange to have your mom pass away like that. It's been a hard day today. I got up doing pretty good. Came out, smoked my pipe and all that, and did my Bible reading, devotional and all that, and read the paper, looked at Facebook and all that. I was doing okay. Throughout the day, though, I kept thinking of my mom and all the things that that reminded me of her. We had to make a trip to Walmart, and man, it was tough just going shopping, because every so often I just see something that would remind me of my mom, and that was kind of a hard day. Got back this evening. Luckily, the kids came over with the grandbabies, so with 6 little ones, it's kind of hard to be depressed, which was nice, but at some point I had to get away for a few minutes. So I decided to listen to a voicemail from my mom. I've got probably 25 or 30 voicemails that my mom has left me over the last few years, just checking in, saying hi, asking how we're doing, asking me to call her. But it's difficult to hear her voice in that recording, because I'll never in this life hear her voice again alive. I mean, I have recordings of her, but it's weird to think that I can't just reach out and talk to her. For a long time, my mom had an iPad, and every night without fail, she would always say goodnight, or send like a little blowing kiss heart, to my wife and myself. And every night she did that. And it's going to be weird. It is strange not getting those now. It's really strange. I just look at her previous ones, and it's just kind of difficult, because the person, my mom, who did that is no longer on this earth. She's in heaven, and it's good for her, but it's difficult for us here on earth. It really is. And you guys know what I mean. Many of you have lost parents and loved ones, obviously. It's part of life. It's difficult. Another thing that's hard is, in the past, I've mentioned a friend of ours, Van Kuren family. It's a wife and husband that we've known forever, and they have 3 boys. They grew up with our kids, and their oldest son, Jonah, had testicular cancer a few years ago. He was cured by that, but then he got a terrible autoimmune disorder, and basically he's had encephalitis for the last few years, last couple of years, and he's just really had a difficult time. They've had to basically be constant providers. We just found out tonight that he passed away. He's 30 years old. He's my son Spencer's age. That's really a tough one, to lose a child as a parent. I thought I was having it tough. I can imagine that. So there are a lot of things in this life that we don't understand, but we do have to stand on the promises of God that there's a point to all this, and the earth is not our home. This life is not where we belong, where we will stay. We have a better life ahead of us. But it's difficult down here to see that and to always believe that. Anyway, just wanted to say hi, kind of catch you guys up to date. Love y'all, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night.